Hello all, Nightfire Ox here. Just your reminder that if you haven't supported the official release of Tower of God, you need to go do that. Like, now. Wait! As the Tower of God episodes get longer, we will only be recapping the most important parts of each episode. So, if you haven't already supported the official release of Tower of God, go do that! Why haven't you already? Are you crazy? Tower of God is amazing! Why are you watching my content if you haven't already supported it? The next arc starts at the end of episode 13. We are brought back to the field where the test to take 400 to 200 was held, but it is on a different field from Bomb's, and it appears to be a lot bloodier than his test as well. We then learn that out of the 400 regulars, there was only 3 who managed to survive. We open back up with Han Sung-yu yelling at a test administrator named Quant. It seems that this administrator did not administer the test correctly, and a lot of regulars paid the price for it. Han Sung-yu is astounded that even with the test being administered incorrectly, that there were still very few survivors, and asks the administrator if there was an irregular or a jihad's princess amongst the regulars. He replies with both. Han Sung-yu freaks out about this, but is able to come up with a plan on how to keep the poorly administered tests covered up. We then meet up with the regulars on break after a long day's worth of tests. Kun talks about how there are more regulars left after the tests than he thought there would be with Bomb. At the end of the conversation, he tells Bomb he's going to use the restroom before the break is over. It's at this time that Shibisu decides to introduce himself to Bomb. He's excited that another regular guy like himself was able to pass all those tests. Out of curiosity, Shibisu asks why Bomb entered the tower. Bomb states that he was looking for someone in that tower. Shibisu relates to this because he also entered the tower for a buddy and is now currently trying to climb after them. As the break ends, we see Ro come back out and greet the regulars. Ro states that he has good news for the regulars, a bonus game. The regulars are confused by this. Shibisu speaks up and asks why a bonus game is a good thing. It's not a good thing for the regulars to have more tests. Ro then states that this game has nothing to do with the tests and is completely optional. However, if you win the game, you get to move up to the next floor of the tower without having to take any more tests. This intrigues the regulars, and they all jump at the chance to pass the second floor without going on through any more tedious tests. The next panel opens up with an arena. Each team has been placed in their own rooms. Ro begins to explain the game. In short, the game is called Crown Game, and the goal is to simply steal the crown. The last team holding the crown wins. It may sound simple, however, it's not that entirely straightforward. First, there's a time limit, and only 5 teams can participate in a round. The team that possesses the crown at the end of each round becomes the winning team. In the next round, 4 new teams, along with the winning team from the previous round, compete. The true winning team will be the team that has the crown at the end of the 5th round. In order to participate, you must press the buzzer in the room before the countdown is complete. Along with all of this information, there is also a way to finish early. To finish a round early, you must sit on the throne wearing the crown before 5 minutes is up. Once that team member is on the throne, they may not leave the throne, or else they will forfeit the crown. The last thing that Ro states is that, along with the regulars from their testing area, new regulars from a different testing area will also be joining the game. And with that explanation out of the way, the crown game begins. Ro begins to count down, and we see Shibisu stating that it would be beneficial to wait until a later round. However, Anak and Hats do not listen and join in anyway. Luckily for Shibisu, only one other team decides to join in on the first round. Now, the first round can truly begin. Episode 15 starts out with Anak telling Shibisu and Hats to leave it to her. The other team seems confused when she approaches them alone. Everyone else watches to see what she will do. The other team tells Anak to take it seriously. However, Anak tells them that depends on them. Thinking Anak is bluffing, the other team begins to attack. However, Anak was not bluffing, and over a series of panels completely obliterates the other team. The teams watching are confused, scared, amused, or all of the above. In a desperate attempt to take the throne, they do try to make a run for it. However, Anak stops them all single-handedly in the plan as well. Anak then takes the crown and sits on the throne. She proves within a single round that she is going to be a formidable opponent to beat. Shibisu breathes a sigh of relief, but it doesn't take him long to get his head back in the game and realize that Anak has sat on the throne. Shibisu realizes that this is a mistake and tells her to leave the throne. However, Anak has other plans and tells Shibisu that she doesn't want to. Round 1 ends since Anak is sitting on the throne, before the first 5 minutes of the round are up. Back with the team, Shibisu is upset with Anak for sitting on the throne, instead of allowing Shibisu, the weaker teammate, to sit. He tries to get Anak to move, but is reminded that removing that teammate from the throne would result in disqualification. Anak is unable to move from the throne until the 5th round is complete. Back with Kun, we find out that he is relieved that Anak has decided to sit on the throne. Because Anak chose to sit, she can't move as freely as before. Back with Shibisu and Hats asks why Shibisu is so worried. After all, they are formidable as well. It should be pretty simple to defend the throne. Labor Row begins a new countdown, and a new set of regulars are chosen. Kun and Baum decide that it is not time to compete yet. After the countdown, we finally get a glimpse of the teams who are competing. First to take up the fight is Shibisu. Shibisu makes a remark about how he and Serena are partners turned foes, but also asks where her other teammate is. Serena, irritated, states that he'll join in later. Back with Hats, he is also preparing to fight. After an exchange of words though, Hats and the other team of regulars begin to fight. For Hats, even though they put up a decent fight, they are no match for him. Back with Shibisu, his fight is underway as well. He seems to be doing well, but is worried. Although they appear unorganized, they aren't taking the bait when he taunts them. Suddenly, their team becomes more organized, and they are able to corner Shibisu. Shibisu, cornered, wonders if this is it for him. But just then, Hats comes to his rescue. Shibisu and Hats have a conversation in between the fighting. Hats asks where their third member is. Shibisu explains that he is sleeping the entire match. Hats is angered by this. How dare he sleep when his teammates are risking their lives? Episode 17 starts in the thick of action. Hats throws his sword at Laurel out of anger. Before we see what happens though, we get a little flashback. Before the round had begun, Laurel suggested that his team enter this round. Serena questions this, because it would not be beneficial to enter so early. Laurel tells her that that's a stupid way of thinking. Laurel explains that the defensive team only has a disadvantage until the 2nd or 3rd round. From the 3rd or 4th round, the defending team has a better chance at winning. Serena still objects to this, so Laurel continues to persuade her. If the attacking team can steal the crown and sit on the throne within 5 minutes, they win. The attacking team has to first steal the crown though, and the more teams there are, the harder it will become. If they were to enter later, then they would be fighting other teams, not the defending team. And if another team gets the crown before they do, it's game over. Serena seems to understand this. Laurel continues. If more than 3 attacking teams join the game, the attacking teams can't destroy the defensive line, because as soon as they do, they would give another team more of a chance to steal the crown. In other words, the team who is the safest will be the team sitting on the throne for at least the first 5 minutes of the game. Serena finally agrees that the plan makes sense, but there's one problem. How will the defending team hold off the other teams after those 5 minutes? Laurel states that he can hold off any team confidently. He says that he can keep the crown safe from anyone because he is a Shinsu user. With that, they make up their minds to go out this round. Laurel gives one more word of warning. Avoid the swordsman because he looks strong. The best thing to do would be to pretend to fight Shibisu, and when the time is right, they will steal the crown. Back in the present, Laurel opens his eyes. He then gets up and prepares to attack. Hats notices that Laurel is about to use Jacinto attack and warns Anak. It's revealed that Laurel is a wave controller. During the commotion, the rest of Laurel's team runs towards the throne. They begin to attack Anak, and Laurel lets off another huge blast right into Anak's path. Laurel states that he can attack Anak from anywhere. Anak does not seem worried by this though. She's actually rather angered by it. She then grabs the green April and ignites it. She tells them she's going to kill all of them, and then begins an assault of her own. Laurel is surprised by her power. Episode 18 starts out with Laurel flying in the sky. He's realizing that Anak is a lot more formidable than he took her for, unaware that her whip can change freely and could potentially cover the whole testing room if she so pleased. While Laurel is thinking of next steps, Anak continues her assault. Laurel finds out that not only can the whip change shape and size, but it can split into multiple whips. The rest of Laurel's team can't keep up. It's all they can do to just run away and avoid being hit. Kun, watching the fight, is feeling a bit overwhelmed. With a weapon like that, there is no way they could possibly win. Just as Kun is pondering if they should give up or not, Bomb begins to scream out. He states that the Black March is acting weird. At the same time, Bomb is experiencing problems with the Black March. Anak begins to feel tingling with the green April as well. Laurel notices that Anak seems distracted. However, before he can attack again, his team grabs him and takes off back to their room, disqualifying themselves. Back with Team Kun, Bomb, and Rock, Bomb is struggling to control Black March. Things are better than what they were at least. Meanwhile, Anak is still looking over in Bomb's direction. Shibisu calls out to Anak. The match is over, so there is no need for Anak to stay on top of the throne. However, Anak has different plans. Anak jumps off the throne and destroys the door to Team Kun, Bomb, and Rock's room. Anak walks into the room and demands the Black March. We begin the episode with Anak breaking into the room of Team Kun, Bomb, and Rock. Kun jumps to defense and asks Anak what she thinks she is doing. Anak ignores Kun and asks Bomb where he got the Black March from. Everyone is confused on how she knew Bomb had the Black March. Suddenly, Shibisu runs into the room angry with Anak. After all, Anak leaving the throne means that their team was disqualified. Yet, all Anak seems to care about is this weapon Bomb has. Shibisu is confused and angered by this. However, Anak quickly defends herself. She states that it is one of Master Shol Eduardo's 13th month series weapons. After she states this, Shibisu also begins to wonder why Bomb would have this sword. Anak first starts by saying that she knows that the weapon is the Black March because she is a princess of Jihad. Anak mentions that the group may have noticed that the weapon she has is the Green April, which is another of the 13th month series. She states that Bomb should not have that sword because it belongs to a daughter of Jihad. Kun, taking all of this in, thinks to himself that the sword Anak has is the Green April, and that's how she noticed the Black March. Again, Anak demands the Black March, but Bomb refuses. He states that Yuri let him borrow the sword, so it would only be right to return it in person. Anak is angered by his response. She goes to kill Bomb, but is stopped. Layra Rowe has had enough of Anak's disobedience and tells her that she has failed and that she and her team need to return to their rooms at once. Before Anak goes, though, she decides to make a deal with Layra Rowe. She asks Layra Rowe to add a new rule to the game between her and Bomb. If Bomb wins the crown game, then he can keep the Black March. If not, then he gives it to Anak. Bomb still doesn't want to play that game, but Anak reminds him that if he doesn't play, there is nothing stopping her from later retrieving the Black March for himself, and killing him in the process. Bomb begins to consider, but not before Anak insults his team. Kun and Rock, offended by her words, accept the terms for the bet for him. The bet has been accepted and now the game can continue. Lyra Rowe tells Enoch that he will add the new rule. If Bomb wins, he keeps the Black March, but if Enoch wins, she takes the Black March. There will be no other rule changes. Lyra Rowe then continues the game. Back in the arena, everything is set and ready to begin the next round. We see Enoch and the rest of the team walking back to their rooms, only for a mysterious woman to say something to her, which seems to anger Enoch. But before she can do anything about it, her team stops her. We then get a flashback from Bomb. Rachel is teaching Bomb about never betraying others, especially girls. Bomb tells Rachel that he won't betray anybody. Back in the present, as Bomb is talking to Kun, he says that he doesn't want to betray Yuri and that he learned betraying a girl will make the world's roof fall on him, just like Rachel had told him. With sentiments inside, Lyra Rowe begins counting down to the next round. We see the next set of teams who are joining, and the chapter ends with Team Kun, Bomb, and Rock ready to fight. Episode 21 starts off with each team thinking up a plan on how to steal the crown, but before any of them can come up with a plan, Kun has already sped past all of them and has taken the crown for himself. However, Kun doesn't immediately sit on the throne. Instead, Kun says that ending the round like that would be no fun, so instead he invites people to fight him and puts the crown in his bag. The other teams begin to attack Kun, but Kun states that it's troublesome. He then takes the crown out of his bag and throws it. He then tells them to fight amongst themselves for the crown. They all begin to fight each other. While the crown is left on the ground, a small regular sees the crown and decides to go after it, while everyone else is occupied. Fighting is still ongoing at the start of the episode. The small regular, during all of the fighting, grabs the crown and then starts making a run for the throne. However, Kun pulls out another crown, and the one the regular had began to disappear. It's revealed that Kun's bag can duplicate objects. Bomb is now sitting on the throne, crown on his head, while Kun and Rock are defending him. Notably, Kun has also put his hair up. The round begins, and Rock goes on the attack. However, Kun tells him that there's no need, and that Rock should rest this round. The other teams devise a truce to take out Team Kun, Rock, and Bomb. However, it's extremely short-lived. One of the teams begins to attack and overpower the other ones. Kun tells Rock assuringly that, you see, we didn't have to fight. He explains to Rock that while everyone was killing everyone during the 400 to 200 test, he went around making allies. Luckily for him, he managed to find just enough to make a team of their own. When he went to use the bathroom was when he got them out of the bag. His hair being up was the signal to come and help. After Kun's allied team's help, they then take their leave and disqualify themselves. The winners of the fourth round are then Team Kun, Rock, and Bomb. After an easily won victory, round 5 begins. It seems the woman who angered Enoch and her team will be entering this final round as well. The last round is extremely crowded. Just as soon as the round starts, a regular takes off and begins to dominate the field. Kun is impressed by this regular. He had thought that the people in this final round would be average at best. Turns out that wasn't the case. The regular runs towards Rock and Kun. They go on the attack, but she manages to outmaneuver them. She makes it up towards Bomb and tells him to put the crown down. As she goes to strike Bomb, however, she is interrupted by the mysterious girl from earlier. More of the women's team come to Bomb's rescue. Bomb recognizes one of the women on the team, though, as Rachel. Episode 25 starts out with Bomb calling out to the girl he believes to be Rachel. Meanwhile, the two mysterious yet powerful women continue their fight. Back with Bomb, he's still trying to get the presumed Rachel's attention. However, as he calls out for her, another one of her teammates shows up to guard him. The fighting still continues, and it looks like Kun and Rock may actually have their hands full. Rock is confused as to when Kun would have had the time to recruit the new team. However, Kun says that he never talked to them and was not sure why this new team was helping. All Kun knows for sure is that they were going to win the crown game. Back with Bomb, he thinks to himself that maybe the girl was not Rachel after all. The teammate she has does not seem like a good fit, and therefore could not possibly be her. The two women are still continuing their fight, and it seems as if they're at a stalemate. However, as the woman with Hill takes off on another attack, her shoe breaks, leaving an opening. The woman in the leotard goes off on another attack, and goes to the girl who is supposedly Rachel. She hits the girl, causing her hood to fall down. Bomb recognizes her immediately and jumps to her aid. As he leaves the chair, their team is disqualified. Bomb screams at the woman and jumps to Rachel's defense. He is hit during the process. Bomb has a memory at the last second and thinks to himself, at the last minute, something happens off-screen that seems to shock everyone. Meanwhile, we see Yuri trying to make her way to the second floor. They seem to be stuck trying to take the correct path to get to the next floor, but eventually figure it out. And with that, the crown game is over. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I know this one is longer than the other ones, so I really appreciate you sticking in there. Have a good day now. Bye-bye.